Hello everyone, welcome to Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty, and welcome to Thursday Inspirational Thoughts. My question for you today, if you could answer in the comments below, is: have you ever had a situation where something's occurring or something's just happened, and literally in the next 5 minutes you've had to either take that out of your mind or switch your persona and do something else with completely different emotions and feelings? So, for example, let's say something's just occurred, and then literally in the next few minutes, you've got to go into a big business meeting or something very important, or an audition or interview, and maybe you're just not even up for it, or something disastrous has happened, but you need to clear your mind, clear your way, and continue on. He knows it. So that's my question for you today. And share your thoughts as to how you do that, how you just blank out what's happening and get on with something very important that you need to do. And the title of today's video is Q&A. So we're going to do some Q&A. And if you like my Q&As, I have actually linked below a Q&A, quite an interesting one for sure, that I've just posted on my other channel, New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. So do go and have a look at that channel, and you'll see my emails and my PayPals are all linked to that channel. For example, what I'm running below, but don't worry about that. It's all done. It's all done. So if you want to donate by PayPal, you've got the link there. If you want to email me, don't worry that it all says New Beginnings, because that is me. So let's start with the first question of today. I've got no idea what the question is. I've just pulled it up. And again, if you want to answer any of these questions with your responses, do add them in the comments below. So the first question is, okay, Rockstar, sing your favourite song. Tell us why it is your favourite. Why is it your favourite? I've talked very recently about this today, the other day, saying about I'm not a lover of karaoke. I love what it stands for, and if you're having a fun party, great. If it, like we were saying at the beginning, if that's your out, the way you get on, then that's great. But personally for me, I don't mind doing karaoke so much, but it's not something I like to observe. So for me, not that. If I was doing karaoke, I've told you one of my karaoke songs is Zoom, ZOOM, by Fat Larry's band. That is probably my karaoke song. But my favourite song, I do quite like, it's a song by Cliff Richard that maybe not a lot of you know of. I think it was a B-side on a record, and it's Daddy's Home. And my dad used to sing it to me. I remember being in his arms. And the other song he used to sing a lot, I remember being very small because he had me in his arms, and it's When the Girl in Your Arms. I think that's Cliff Richard. So that one, because it's got emotional memories. I like a few songs by Freddie and the Dreamers. Again, you know me, it's all about my childhood. So my childhood songs, I remember Freddie and the Dreamers songs. I can't have a favourite song. I do actually like instrumentals probably more than songs. I like Gloria. That's a good go-y song. If I had to pick something, it's either going to be a nice emotional, soothing type song or a real disco, get out there, really good strong beats song when I'm in a party mood. So yeah, completely different sorts of songs for sure. If I've got to pick a favourite song, I do like Elton John, Yellow Brick Road, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. So let's say that song, which I've learnt very recently. None, all bar a couple of Elton John's songs, actually have any meanings at all. Most of his songs were not written by him, and the writer did an interview recently, and he said, I just wrote words. They have no meanings. I didn't know if they were going to be love songs or whatever. They weren't meanings. And Elton John would decide on what sort of music he felt was appropriate for the words. Next question. Let's see. Tell what things made you feel scared when you were 5 years old. That's a very interesting question. I wasn't afraid of Doctor Who, scary movies. In my day, we had the Hammer House of Horror, which was a programme. It was all like thriller horror films. I was brought up on watching, my nan used to babysit me a lot, and I was allowed to stay up till mum and dad got home from their dinners and parties and wherever they would go. and my nan let me do what I liked. Not naughty things, but because I was allowed to stay up, I said I wanted to watch the black and white horror films, which was like mummy films, Frankenstein, Dracula, all those classic type films. I was never scared by those. I always liked that sort of thing, which might be why I like thrillers are my best type of film. Not horror, but thriller, where you have a big twist at the end. And anyone who watches my channels will know I go on about this a lot when I say I read a book, whether I give it a good review or not. It's got to have a very good, unexpected twist at the end, not boy meets girl, get married, happy ever after. There's too many of that sort of story. Let's have a twist, something different. So what did make me feel scared at 5 years old? I do remember a reoccurring dream I used to have. And I've done psychology, so I'm not going to go into that side of it. I'm just going to tell you the dream. And it was a dream that I wouldn't have for years, and then I'd have it again, but it kind of carried on. It wasn't the same dream, but it was the same characters kept coming back in the dream. And at this point, I lived with my parents in a cul-de-sac, a road that doesn't go anywhere. And down this road came the three bears. Now, they weren't cutesy fairy tale. They had no clothes on, as bears don't. And they weren't ferocious looking bears, but they were like proper bears, big grizzly bears, but not cuddly looking. And the dream changed each time, but it was basically around these three bears that they would come and knock on the door. Now, I was told I was never allowed to open the door, the front door, no matter what was said, especially things like mummy and daddy have told me to come and you need to open the door, or mummy and daddy had said, those kind of things. I was always highly warned, for whatever the reason was, don't open the door. And I remember, even to the day, the letterbox that my parents had, it was quite a long silver letterbox in the door. I know Americans watching might not know this, but English letterboxes are in your front door. And they would open it up, come on, open the door. And I would go upstairs. Now, the problem is upstairs, the phone in these days, no mobile phones, the phone was downstairs in the hallway on a little table hanging on the wall. So I would have to come all the way down to use the phone to call somebody. And then the dream would, another time, it would be these three bears again. I'd be like, oh, here we go again. They've come back. And in the dream, I would think it was real before. I don't know that I thought it was a dream. And then there would be this very short man, not quite a dwarf, midget, whatever the correct words are these days, not quite that, but he was very small and he was all in black and he had a black hat on. What's it called? What's that black hat called? Oh, that's not there. Is it Theodore hat? Something like that. Like a cowboy hat, but not a big cowboy hat where it has the dent in the top. And he would be all in black, like a black raincoat, black trousers, black hat. His collar would be up and he would sort of be hanging around on the driveway and the bears would come, like, let us in, let us in. And I'd be upstairs again and you could look round sort of the banister. And I didn't want them to see me. But for some reason, they always knew I was home and I was home on my own. And then, as I say, the dream manifests. I might not have it for years, and then it would suddenly be this dream again, but it was always progressive, which was very strange. And then it would be more about this man. The three bears might not be there, and then he would be quite forceful, like, come on, open the door, and blah, blah, blah. And it just got really progressive. And even remembering it now, it was very scary. And I don't recall anything that would relate to me thinking about this man in a black mac. As I say, he was particularly short. And I hadn't seen anything with this man and the three bears. It wasn't the three bears as in Goldilocks and three bears. There were just three bears. But that is something that still plays on my mind. And even as a teenager, I had the dream a couple of times, and it was always very scary, always a very scary dream. And I don't think I ever told my parents of it because I knew it was stupid. It was only a dream when I woke up. So you know me, I'm the sort of person that wouldn't make a big deal out of something that I know wasn't real. So yeah, if you want to know what scared me, that. So shamefully, it's nothing as in a real thing. Weird. The next question, what song tells about you? Oh, gosh, how can you think of every song? I think, is it a Pink one? There's a song by Pink, and it's is it Tiger? I'm not very good at names of songs. I recognise a song when I hear it. I think it's something about Tiger. It's about you survive and you struggle. Not Eye of the Tiger, although that's pretty good as well. Anything about surviving, getting on, beating the odds, anything like that. Yeah, let's say Eye of the Tiger. I know that's about fighting, but possibly the words are right to that. I'd have to look them up. But anything about getting on, being strong, going out there, and that kind of thing. So if you can think of a song like that, do tell me what it is. If you can give me the lyrics, that would be awesome as well. The next question, tell about something you do well. Do I do well? I do well at surviving. There we go. I do well at surviving. I tend not to have hang-ups about things too much. I beat the odds for sure. I do that well. I don't surround myself in misery. I'm all right. Something happens and it's in you and you think about it, but I beat everything eventually in my own way. I won't bring it to show. You wouldn't know 99% of the time when I was unwell. You wouldn't know. So I try to keep things to myself. I know some people say, oh, you shouldn't, you should share things. But if I shared everything that happened to me, well, we'd never get on with life. So I go forward, I progress, and I live by positivity no matter what. And I certainly don't let other people get to me. Let's say that. The next question, tell about your favourite toy when you was 5. Now, I have shown before my toys that I still have. I have my 1960s doll's house that I had as a child, and I've shared that many times on this channel. If you ever want links to a video that I mention, because obviously I don't know what I'm going to talk about before I do a live. If you want links, just say and comment. Say, oh, I'd like to see your doll's house, and I will send back the URL. I have done links on that. I actually did a tour of my doll's house on one of my lives, but it's better if you watch the actual video, because sometimes if the internet's not that great, a live playing video sometimes can jump a little. So if you want the URL, I have my 3 teddies that I had from very young. One, I've shown these before. One is Panda, one is Red Ted, and the other one is a yellow teddy bear called Debbie. And I actually told you all my story of those from what I used to think they were. Debbie was a girl, Red Ted and Panda were boys. Panda was the leader of the gang, but Debbie kind of helped him along, and Red Ted was the baby of the gang. I wonder if that was the order I got them in. I don't know that. And I still have those 3 today. I wasn't really into dolls. I like my doll's house, and I like my Cindy, which was like a Barbie doll, but Cindy didn't have ridiculous proportions. So I played with those a lot. I like my farm and my zoo. I don't have those anymore. But yeah, I have my 3 teddies. As I say, I wasn't really into dolls. I did have one that I used to drag around by her hair all the time, but I wasn't really a doll person. My mum got me a pram and a cot and a high chair. No, I wasn't so much into that. I liked playing with things that did things, like I say, the dollhouse, the farm, the zoo. You can make a little story with them. So they were my favourite toys, definitely. Okay, next question. Tell about a time you had to make a really tough choice. What did you do? Well, the answer is the right thing. So I will say that to you. If you have to make a choice, do the right thing. And I mean what's right for you. Don't feel beholden. Let's say there's something up in your family. Don't feel compelled just because it's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Let's say they've broken the law. Don't feel compelled because they're family. So things like that would be a tough choice. If things, let's say, these are examples, this isn't my answer. Let's say something your family's done to you does bad for you. Is it healthy to stick with that family member just because they're family? That is making the right choice. So bring yourself into play. Think of the reasons why they're doing what they're doing or what they've done. Yes, help people. And for me, I don't give second chances. I'll talk through the first problem and try and resolve it and help people to as much as I can. But then you do something the same again or something worse, or use that help I've given you and ignore it, or think, soft touch, I'll do it again. Then not. So these are times. So tough choice. Have I ever had to make a tough choice? It might be giving something up in some shape or form. Maybe something you really love to do. Maybe you've got options to do something you really love to do, or another opportunity. This can be a difficult thing if you've got an amazing job, it's paying well, but you get offered a bigger or better opportunity. Is that grass greener on the other side? Are you only changing jobs because the money's better and therefore it's a greed factor? So weigh everything up. I would say weigh everything up. Take all things into consideration. Think with a clear mind. If somebody says to me, oh, can you do such and such for me tomorrow? My answer, if it's something maybe I don't want to do or I'm busy myself, I will say, I'll call you, I'll let you know. Give yourself space and time so you don't jump in with an answer. So think about it, weigh up options, and never make any decisions for any reason at once. Take time, think everything through, think of the negatives and the positives, and then make a clear decision. So that's my advice on Inspirational Thursday Thoughts. Next question. When you're a parent, will you be more or less strict than your parents? There's a difference between being strict and being appropriate. I would look at how my parents conducted themselves to my childhood and growing up. I would look at what they did, why they did, work out what was right, what was wrong, what I disliked and why, and go from there. So I do believe in a lot of rules, but make them very clear and for good reason, not just rules for the sake of rules. My parents didn't allow me to do what I wanted to do. And they said, when you leave home, then you can do what you want. If you leave home before you're married, then don't come back here when it all goes wrong. So it was a case of once you left, that was it kind of thing. Which I suppose in their minds made you, obviously the year I was born, the era, they wanted me to be married and not move out. It was just that turn really of people living together, and they didn't really want that for me. There were other things that I won't mention. might be a bit controversial. I would say if you're a husband and wife or a couple and you have children, you've got to be on the same page before you even think of having a child, because if you've got different aspects and thoughts of rules and bring up a child, it won't work. You don't want good cop, bad cop, or don't do the wait till your father gets home type thing, or we'll go and ask your mother. Don't do that. Know what your rules are and go from there. Would I be strict? I wouldn't say strict, but I would have appropriate rules in place to know where people were. I would have eating dinner together at a table. I would have no phones at any table, whether you're at a restaurant, friend's house, no meal times or talking time. I would have phone times, game times, computer times. It would be strict in that respect. The difficult one today is, would you give a child a mobile phone? I certainly wouldn't give it to them as a young child. I can't see the point of that. You often get people saying, well, I gave my child a phone young, so if they got into trouble, they could phone, or blah, blah, or at school, if something happens and they're leaving early, whatever. First of all, you have a school office where they can phone your parents for you. We all pre-mobile phones got along with life just fine, thank you very much, without the need for one. Most of this today of stress, anxiety from children is social media based and phone and who said what and waking up and clicking on the phone. I certainly wouldn't have a phone in a bedroom, that kind of thing. So it would be very rule based from the outset. I wouldn't like to say strict. It's just knowing where you are. And this is working with children from very young ages. It's about setting boundaries and rules. If you've let a 3-year-old and 4-year-old get away with all sorts of things, then you've lost them, basically. So things like, don't ask a 3-year-old, what do you want to wear today? They don't have that concept of ability yet. They will then pull out one red sock, one green sock, flip-flops, a summer hat and a tank top in the middle of winter. You've asked them, what do you want to wear? And they a feather headdress. You've asked them, what do you want to wear? They don't concept the question as it was meant. So don't give them that. You say to them, if you want to give them choice, do you want to wear this today or this today? So I could go on forever talking about raising children. And again, psychology comes into play, but I was a child educator for many years and know all the background and qualified with a degree on raising children and educating children. The next question. Describe in detail your earliest childhood memory. I do remember, now my big sister could tell me what age I was. I'm going to say 2 or 3 years old. And the second house that I lived in as a child, and I only lived in 3 houses as a child, the second house, I remember my dad coming home from work. I think it was the second house. I'm pretty sure it is, because I wouldn't have remembered the first house at all. And I remember one of our cats used to walk across the back fence. There was like an alleyway at the back of the house, and the cat walking along the fence, waiting for my dad to come home from work. The cat knew every time my dad was coming home from work, he would be waiting, and he would jump on my dad's shoulder over the fence, and my dad would walk up the alleyway and in the gate. Now, I think my big sister could tell you that exactly what age I was. I'm guessing I was 2 or 3. I do remember a lot of wallpapers in our childhood bedrooms, because we were allowed to pick the wallpapers. And in those days, you always had, like, I remember one we had, my big sister chose it because we shared a room at that point, and it was horses. She was a great lover of horses. So I remember that was when we were a bit older though, because I had my own little bedroom in that house first. So I remember a lot of the old wallpapers. I have a lot of memories, but I think they are from my dad did cine film. So I can't tell you for sure that. I do remember I've talked about on my dance channel. Let's pop that up for you so you can find it if you're interested. I've been doing lives on my dance channel and talking about my dance journey, and I'm slowly going through my whole dance career history. And the first episode was my memories of starting dancing at a very young age. So go and look at that, and there's pictures as well. So I remember that quite clearly. I remember being such a fat baby and keep falling down all the time, no different to now. But I was so fat, I remember always falling down. And we had this toy that was like a push along, and it was like a little sort of cart, trolley cart. It was very low, only about that tall, and then the handles to push. And when it was empty, it would topple over. So that didn't help me as a walker. And inside they had really heavy squares. Think of Rubik cubes, like blocks, really heavy. I've got a feeling they were almost metal. They were like solid. And I think they were supposed to be like milk bottles, but they were squares like Rubik cube. And there was red, blue, white and yellow. See, I even remember that. And they filled up one deep the whole bottom of the cart. Then you could walk with it and it didn't topple over. But I remember walking along with it, even with the weights in, and because I was a big booba baby, I'd tip it over and they'd all fall on me and they hurt. They were heavy. They were really heavy. So I think I must have been a toddler, pre-toddler then, because I was learning to walk. So I do remember being in my pram. Do remember being in my pram. I seem to be in the pram a lot because I was in the pram in the garden, and I was in the pram in the days you used to leave the pram outside a shop. Yes, with the baby in. I'm from those days. I just remember being in the pram a lot, and I remember this little hangy sort of toy, and I don't know if it was supposed to be a bird. I think it was a duck or a bird. Again, need my big sister on lives one time. She should come on and talk with me and tell me what's what. As I say, my memories are my memories, but she can put me straight. I think it was a duck, and it was quite big. It was about that tall, and it had a white head and a white body. And I think it had an orange hat and orange. That's why I think it was a duck. It had like orange feet, like a duck. I think, did it have orange wings or white wings? I can't remember. I think it was a duck. I think that was the duck as well. So I remember that. So that's baby. That's baby. You always get people that say, oh, yes, I remember being in the womb. No, I don't remember that. And I don't really want to remember that. So, yeah, I think the one in the pram, that's probably my earliest memory. Again, I've got photographs my mum's got, so am I remembering it through that? It's always difficult to say. So, yeah, they're what I think are my early memories. Okay, next question. Would you rather walk, run, skip, or sit? Walk if it's walking to a place of choice. So just walking to work or something like that. Take it or leave it. I like walking around my mountain, abandoned village, in nature. So I need to walk and see beautiful things. So yes, walk. I'm going to go for walk overall. Run. No, Dawn doesn't run. Skip. No, Dawn doesn't skip. Sit. Well, I'm sitting now, I'm enjoying it. So sitting, balance with walking. But if I've got to pick one, definitely walking. Okie doke. Next question. Tell what, that's such bad grammar. Tell what you do to feel better when you're really angry. really angry. I don't think I can do anything when I'm feeling really angry. I need to get it out my system. So that's what I do. I get it out my system. So I'll either talk it through with Mike if it's something appropriate to talk with Mike, talk things out. I think that's what we do mostly. If something's annoyed us, we talk it out with each other. Sometimes we're quite irate with each other, not cross with each other, but you know how you get all cross when you're talking. But yes, I think we both do that. We talk it out. That's definitely the thing. But then to try and feel better, I think if we've had enough, something's really got to us and we've had enough, we sit and watch a film or just be together, have a drink. That sounds bad, not in a bad way, but just totally chill out. If something really strange or bad's happened, yeah, maybe we talk it out if needs be, and then we just give up on the day, but not in a bad way, just chill out, forget anything else and do that. I think that's probably the best for you all. Get it out your system and then chill out. Next question. Tell about, that's such bad grammar. Tell about the most responsible person you know. Do I know people like this? And what makes those people responsible? I think I'm responsible for myself. I can't be responsible when it's documentation, things like that. So I do go to Mike then, but I'm the one who knows law, procedures, and how to phrase things if you're sending an email and that. So kind of, let's say we do things together and he gets cross when I say, just like, listen to what I've put. And then he'll say, oh, what about blah, blah. And I'll say, no, you need to put it like this. And then he'll say, why did you ask me? Bless him. But what I'm doing, see, again, I'm backtracking. I'm sounding it out. I'm speaking it out loud. Mike's quite self-reliant as well. He will often talk out loud because that's the way he works through. If he's working out a problem, as in trying to work out DIY, he will talk to himself. So I think we're both self-responsible. I wouldn't like to say we rely on each other, but we are both there for each other. Somebody else responsible. My dad, I'd always go to my dad. No, I wouldn't always go to my dad, but like that's where I learned all my law from, all law and procedures and how to take someone to court and all that. I learned that from him. So I would have said my dad, but he's not with us anymore. Yeah. I do have a friend in Cyprus, beginning with an S, so you know who you are. Yeah, I would say then in times of need, like desperation, if there was something I didn't know, that's who I would ask. Let's say that. There. Okay. That's the trouble with being self-reliant, isn't it? You just rely on yourself. Next question. What's the one thing you own that makes you feel better when you're depressed? Well, I don't get depressed. I don't get depressed. I think it makes you feel better. Well, Mike. I don't own Mike though. I always end up saying my house, because I just walk outside and look at our panoramic view. That always makes me feel better. When I've been unable to go outside and get outside, that's probably when I feel my lowest. But to just get there, sometimes Mike's helped me into the sun lounge. I can just sit there and just see the view. Yeah. So I do own my house. So that is something I own. Yes, that makes me feel better for sure. I can get over anything as long as I've got Mike, my house, my cats, and things run as they are. Okay, next one. This one says, for me, success is having a happy life, whatever that may be. Doesn't matter if you haven't got money or even a property. A lot of people these days, particularly young people, don't own property, don't rent property, and they literally live a nomadic life or volunteering life and go from property to property. So success is having a job that you like if you have to work, and B, living the life you like, whatever that entails. So not having to feel like you're in the rat race. I don't think a lot of people that go on about money, neither me or Mike, are interested in money per se. And the people talk about what they've got all the time and how much they earn. Oh my goodness. So success is just being happy, living your life, however that is. So whether you have to work, then that. Oh, we have in the house this Astute Tourist. So don't forget, guys, go and check out Mr. Jimmy's channel. Being here, he said he can't stay, and I know that when I'm on live he's normally working and he either does a quick tea break or whatever else, so he's always popping in. And yeah, nice to see you. Thank you for being here. So yes, that's answered that question. Oh, Mr. Jimmy says thank you, Dawn. Yes. If you talk to Shirley, Jimmy, she's got information about me. Say Dawn said I can ask what's happening with Dawn. So I don't want to go over it in a chat. So if you want to contact Shirley, then just say Dawn has said, and she'll know that I've said okay to you. So just talk to Shirley and she'll fill you in on things. Okay, the next one says, I'd feel guilty if I'd feel guilty. I know. I'd feel guilty if I said to Mike, I don't want to live here anymore. And he's just done all this work. And he's still doing work. Yes, that's the one. Isn't it, Mike? Yes, I'd feel guilty if I would never say that. Yeah, that's got to be the worst thing I could say right now, apart from leaving him, but I wouldn't do that either. No, I think that would not be better, but that would be more than saying we're going together, leaving here. I think he would say, off you go then. Off you go then. Yes. What's your answer to that? That would be an interesting one. So comment below. Let me know your answer to that. The next question. Physically describe your favourite relative. Well, you've all seen him. You've all seen him. He wears glasses. He's got two different pairs of glasses, one for reading, one for other stuff. He's very handsome. He's quite tall. He's quite old. I always like how he dresses, no matter how he dresses. So whether he's dressing up or dressing casual, he's got an impeccable taste of shirts. I don't know how many shirts you've seen him pictured in my videos, but every shirt he's got, and they're all sort of different types. He's not one of these who has lots of the same sort of shirt. So he's got lovely shirts. He dresses well. When I first met him, to me, he's someone you look at and you've got no idea they could be anything, meaning he could be elite. He could tell you he was anything and you would believe it. So that he had a lovely car when I met him, which sadly we had to sell in England. Do ask him to do a video of all his cars and his pictures. There's some awesome stuff there. He built a lot of the cars himself. And also ask him to do his plane ones, all the planes he rebuilt. So there's some awesome ones there. And he'll do that on his channel if you ask. Go and comment on his channel. Let me put it in the comments in case I've got a lot of new people on my channel. So let me type it in case you're new. Now, of course, I'm talking about Mike. Let me actually, I might have the URL. Let me see if I can pull up the URL of his channel. But I do recommend you all keep a Word doc with all the things you might need while you're on a live, chatting with people. And then it's so easy to find. So Mike's channel is thus. So do go and check out his channel. Say Dawn sent you. Because he always says, oh, is this one of your people? And I'll be, who is it? So this is Mike's channel, Olive Farm Retreat, Cyprus. Do check it out. Don't forget to subscribe. And there you will see more of our awesome projects that we do. You'll see all our awesome projects. Okay, next question. Are you a giant redwood tree, a rose bush, poison ivy, or a weeping willow tree? Now, it's weeping willow because it's sad. Rosebush is thorny. Giant redwood tree. I'm going for that as if it was a trick question. So it's a giant redwood tree, a rosebush, poison ivy, or weeping willow. And of course, you've got to work out what you think that means. I'm saying a rosebush is pretty, but watch out. Poison ivy, well, weeping willow sounds a bit sad, even though it's a pretty tree. I'm going to say a giant redwood tree because I keep growing. I keep growing no matter what. I keep growing. That's a good answer, isn't it? That's a good answer. So I think that is an excellent one to finish on. I do want to remind you that if you want to do StreamYard at all, before you pay for StreamYard, then do go on my discount. I have a discount code for you, which is in the link below. And here's a little promo about that. So before you pay, you will get a discount. Use my discount code. And I do want to share with you what also makes me happy. Let's take a moment to chill out as it's Thursday Inspirational Thoughts. Let's relax our mind and bring our happy thoughts forward. So that was a nice little interlude there, and something that was all photographed from my house. Yes, we have beautiful sunsets in Cyprus. So let's take a visit to Quote Corner. Indeed. So we're going to wrap it up here today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to the viewers that do manage to watch the whole way through my lives. I know my times are difficult for most of the world, so I appreciate even dropping in when you do. And I also appreciate those of you who are watching back later. There are many of you that watch back later, and so a huge thank you to you for taking the time to sit and watch after the event. Thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.